Welcome back at 9:30. You may find yourself opening your wallet a bit wider for sweet treats this holiday season. Costs are on the rise for many businesses, thanks to shortages and import restrictions on the U.S. sugar industry. In tonight's special report, we take a look at the push to sweeten the supply. Graham's Chocolates in Geneva is a go-to stop for many, especially during the holiday season.
I think it kind of makes a tradition. I mean, part of your holiday, don't you think? Yeah, I don't know, we do. I guess, but we have them here, so.
Pamela Shodine says her grandkids love their s'mores and so much more.
And the chocolate-covered pretzels are amazing, too, so you can't go wrong.
The shop has been in business since 1987, serving up all kinds of delicious sweet treats.
So our scallies are maybe the best thing that we serve here. And then we also do, caramel squares, salted caramels.
Graham CEO Janie Wunderlich says chocolate is a big business.
For 1 pound samplers and things, our regular samplers, I mean, we sell probably, 50,000 a year or something like that, a lot.
Graham's ships nationwide to satisfy your sweet tooth, no matter where you are. The National Confectioners Association says those big numbers are common across the industry.
Last year, we saw $42 billion in confectionery retail sales, which is a double-digit increase from the year prior.
Schilderhouse says consumers' love for sweets did not wane during the pandemic.
It's a small, affordable, accessible, and transparent treat for people across the country as they're looking for little ways to sweeten their lives.
And while there is no shortage of demand, there is another shortage happening. It involves a key ingredient for almost all food manufacturers.
In the United States, we need about 12 million tons of sugar for the food manufacturing industry. And currently, due to this outdated policy, there's only 9 million tons of that sugar. So what we're looking at is a big challenge for food manufacturing, and it very much impacts the confectionery industry.
Sugar isn't used in just candy and cookies, but everything from cereal to pasta sauce to yogurt.
Manufacturers across the country are experiencing a significant sugar supply shortage, and it's all directly related to the sugar policy that we have here in the United States. It's the direct descendant of the 1934 Sugar Act.
According to Grant Colvin with the Alliance for Fair Sugar Policy, it all comes down to how much sugar can be produced domestically and how much is allowed to be imported based on U.S. law.
We have a limit on what we can produce domestically. That's just written into the law. So American sugar businesses can only produce so much sugar every year and maintain compliance with our sugar policy. It's also the case that it's incredibly difficult to get sugar in a timely way from partners overseas.
Under current rules, the U.S. must grow 85% of its sugar supply and can only import 15% from overseas.
Day to day in the U.S., we pay 2 to 3 times more for sugar than the rest of the world. That's a really significant issue, and that, of course, will be, passed along in the form of higher prices.
Since the pandemic, we've seen a huge increase in pricing all over the board. Sugar itself, we use sugar in all different forms here. We use invert sugar, which has gone up, 3.5%. We've seen regular granulated sugar and brown sugar gone up about 10%, and just even powdered sugar up 10% as well.
The concern for small businesses like Graham's is that they could struggle to compete with larger companies for a share of a finite supply.
What if, a larger company buys up all the sugar that, that maybe we would be used or that would be allocated for us? We can't just change an ingredient. It could certainly affect our recipe, and these recipes that we have been tried and true for 35 years. We haven't noticed a huge change for us so far, and I'm just hoping that stays the same.
This is a big issue certainly for Illinois, where 50,000 of those workers are based, but 700,000, again, workers across the country all experiencing the supply shortages. That's not good for the manufacturers, the workers, of course, but also everyday Chicagoans who are seeing higher prices at the grocery store.
We are talking to anyone and everyone about the ways in which the current outdated sugar program impacts business throughout this country. Well, based on a recent review of the U.S. sugar policy, the federal government's accountability office says it recommends the USDA evaluate its method for restricting imports. The Alliance for Fair Sugar Policy is calling on Congress to make changes to the current policy as part of the 2023 Farm Bill.